Year 3, Week 10, November pressure. All right. Let's get back to another DNS address. Week 10 is complete. We've officially reached the point of the season where every result carries something a little bit more. Georgia Tech is still perfect. Georgia Southern's on a 8-win streak. Troy's on 8-1. South Florida has completely erased its 0-2 start. Texas State has recovered and is back to stacking wins. Sacramento State is quietly sitting at 7-2. And next week, we have two user versus user matchups with postseason implications. This is where the pressure starts changing. September is about to find out who you are. October is about building your resume. November is about protecting it. This is November pressure. Let's get into it. Our headline of the week is Georgia Tech is 9-0. Number 3, Georgia Tech traveled to Stanford. The final was 48-6. At this point, we are running out of new ways to describe what Georgia Tech is doing to people. Clutts accounted for 2 touchdowns. Willies went over 100 yards rushing. Ford scored twice. Malik Shaw topped 100 receiving yards. The defense forced 3 turnovers. And because apparently the Yellow Jackets are legally required to score on special teams every few weeks, Wrotto returned an punt 80 yards for a touchdown. Georgia Tech improves to 9-0 and heads in the next week, ranked number 2 in the country. Number 22, Florida State comes to Atlanta next. At this stage, Georgia Tech's not chasing respect anymore. They are chasing perfection. Georgia Southern makes it 8 straight. Georgia Southern went to Coastal Carolina and won 38-3. That makes 8 consecutive wins since the opening loss to number 1 Oklahoma. The passing game did not carry the day. Instead, Georgia Southern ran the football and let the defense handle the rest. J.J. Bradley scored twice. Theo Todd scored twice. And defensively, 6 sacks, 1 interception, 3 points allowed. That's it. Georgia Southern improves to 8-1. Moves to number 11. Remember, year 3 started at number 1 Oklahoma. Then number 4 Oregon. Then at number 7 LSU. The Eagles survived that opening gauntlet. And now they become one of the hottest teams in the country. Next week, things get personal. Number 11, Georgia Southern at Old Dominion. User versus user. Walker Bennett versus Austin Crow. 2 programs with postseason goals, and somebody is leaving with a loss. Demarcus Compton just ran the ball 59 times. Texas State beats Fresno State 38-21. And I need everyone to understand what I'm about to say. Demarcus Compton carried the football 59 times for 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. There are running backs. There are workhorse running backs. And then there's whatever Texas State is currently doing to this man. Rosling only completed 10 passes. Why throw it when Compton is apparently capable of carrying the entire offense, the equipment truck, and possibly the marching band? The defense added a pick 6 from Matt Harper Johnston. Texas State improves to 7-2 after losing back-to-back games to Boise and UCLA. They've now responded with 2 straight wins. Washington State comes to town next, and yes, Compton remains right there in the Heisman conversation, although some people probably should get him some ice. Lots of it. South Florida makes a quarterback decision. Before South Florida traveled to Charlotte, Coach Merkz made a decision this week. The freshman was getting the start over the senior. Evan Holliday got the football. South Florida won 52-34. Holliday was able to deliver 317 passing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, another one on the ground. There were 2 interceptions, so nobody should be throwing a parade over ball security yet. But the freshman gave this offense something. And Talyn Taylor absolutely exploded with 13 receptions, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. Iverson Howard added another 100-yard rushing day. And then there was C.J. Sadler. Again, Sadler returned to kickoff, 97 yards for a touchdown. Then returned to punt, 82 yards for another touchdown. Apparently, kicking the ball anywhere near C.J. Sadler remains a questionable life choice. South Florida has now won 7 straight after starting 0-2. The Bulls improved to 7-2. They moved to number 7 in the country. Next, another user versus user game. UAB at South Florida. Coach Breesy versus Coach Matt. One coach looking for the upset of this season, the other just trying to keep 7-game win streak alive. Nothing big. Troy continues to handle business. Louisiana Tech went to Troy. The Trojans won 31-21. Waldrop threw 3 touchdowns. Walter went over 100. Palmer went over 100. They had 218 rushing between the two of those guys. White caught 2 touchdowns. Boyd added another. Troy improves to 8-1, moves to number 14 in the country. 8 wins, 1 loss. The Ohio State game feels like a long time ago. Troy's done exactly what good teams are supposed to do after a setback. Move on, keep winning. Coastal Carolina comes to Troy next. Sacramento State keeps stacking them. Eastern Michigan went to Sacramento. The Hornets win 28-21. Sam Babcock threw 3 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions because, again, stress-free Sacramento State quarterbacks play appears to be against league policy somewhere. I don't know if we wrote that in. Golly and Rainey combined it for more than 160 rushing yards. Collins found the end zone, and the defense was able to record 5 sacks. Sacramento State improves to 7-2. This is a very solid season, quietly developing out west. Akron comes to Sacramento next. The Hornets have a real opportunity to keep sacking wins. UAB falls back to earth. Navy beats UAB 34-21. After 2 straight wins, UAB has now dropped 2 straight. Nate Rogers struggled through the air, 3 interceptions and only 56 passing yards. Sally gave the offense something on the ground with 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ingram was able to add 82. The passing game never gave UAB enough balance, though. The Blazers fall to 2-7, and next week they get number 7 South Florida on the road. If UAB wants to flip the entire tone of the season in one afternoon, there is the opportunity. Army loses another heartbreaker. Air Force is able to beat Army 10-9. That's 2 brutal losses in a row. Last week, 10-7 against Tulsa. This week, 10-9 against Air Force. Army has allowed 20 combined points over the last 2 games and lost both. That is painful. Godspeed rushed for 171 yards. Bray added 73. The defense allowed only 3 points, and Army could not finish enough drives. The defense allowed only 9 points, and Army could not finish enough drives. The Black Knights fall to 4-4 now at North Texas. The defense is doing enough. The offense has to reward them. Mississippi State's season is slipping away. Tennessee beats Mississippi State 37-6. The Bulldogs fall to 2-7. Coolidge threw 2 more interceptions. The defense forced 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Somehow Mississippi State still only scored 6 points. That tells you everything. The defense is creating opportunities. The offense is not cashing them in. At 2-7, the margin is basically gone. Next, at number 23, Georgia. Not exactly the ideal place to fix the offense. Old Dominion had the week off. They are able to sit at home this week. After reaching 7-2, the Monarchs probably did not mind the opportunity to recover. Next week, they host Georgia Southern. It's one of the biggest user versus user games we've had this season. Murillo Timmons against Georgia Southern's defense that has been wrecking offensive lines for weeks. This one deserves a spotlight. Our stock ups this week: Georgia Tech 9-0, number 2 in the country. The national championship conversation is fully open. Georgia Southern 8 straight, number 11. This is not a Cinderella story anymore. South Florida 7 straight after starting 0-2, and the freshman quarterback just gave an offense a spark. Troy 8-1, quietly one of the most consistent programs in year 3. Our need more film of the week is Army's offense. 20 points allowed over 2 weeks, 2 losses. That can't happen. Mississippi State's offense, the defense forced for 4 turnovers, and the team scored 6 points. Nothing else to say about that one. UAB's passing game, 3 interceptions, 56 passing yards, and now South Florida is next. This has to improve quickly. Our Week 10 honors, our Offensive Player of the Week is Demarcus Compton. Again, 59 carries. That's all you got to say about that, man. He is the workload. He is the production. And Texas State is back to winning. Our defensive unit of this week is Georgia Southern's defense. 6 sacks, 1 interception, 3 points allowed. Another suffocating afternoon. Our DNS Special Teams Player of the Week was wide receiver CJ Sadler of South Florida. A kickoff return, a punt return touchdown. 179 return yards between those two scores alone. At this point, special teams coordinator should simply stop kicking him the ball. Our Heisman watch, we had no change this week. The race does continue and gets interesting, though. Our Built Not Given Award of the week is South Florida again, becoming one of the largest stories that matters. 0-2, quarterback questions, NFL departures, turnovers, plenty of reason for the season to fall apart. Instead, 7 straight wins. Now Coach Matt makes the move to the freshman quarterback, and the kid goes for 300 in his first start. South Florida's not surviving anymore. They are climbing number 7 in the country and still moving. That's Built, Not Given. Week 11 look ahead. Number 11, Georgia Southern at Old Dominion. User versus user. This is the headliner. Georgia Southern is 8-1. Old Dominion 7-2. Walker Stonewall Bennett against Austin Crow. One of the hottest teams in the country against the reigning Heisman winner. That one is an appointment television. UAB at number 7, South Florida. Again, user versus user. Coach Breesy against Matt Merkz. UAB is 2-7. South Florida has won 7 straight. On paper, the Bulls are supposed to win, but user versus user games have a funny way of ignoring paper. Number 22, Florida State at number 2, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is trying to move to 10-0. Florida State gets the next shot at ending perfection. Coastal Carolina at number 14, Troy. Troy tries to reach 9 wins. Washington State at Texas State. Texas State has stabilized. Compton's rolling, and now the Bobcats try to make it 3 straight. Akron at Sacramento State. Sacramento State is 7-2. 8 wins is right there. Army at North Texas. Army has lost 2 straight games by a combined 4 points. They need to finish. Mississippi State at number 23, Georgia. The Bulldogs are running out of season. Every week is now must-win territory. Week 10 was about November pressure. Georgia Tech is 9-0. Georgia Southern's won 8 straight. South Florida's won 7 straight. Troy's 8-1. Old Dominion 7-2. Sacramento State is 7-2. Texas State's back to winning. There are no longer early season stories. These are resumes. These are conference races. These are playoff conversations. These are Heisman campaigns. And next week, we get 2 user versus user games. Georgia Southern at Old Dominion, UAB at South Florida. This is exactly when the season gets fun, because now every game feels bigger. Every mistake costs more, and every win puts something meaningful within reach. Welcome to November. The pressure is here. In the Department of Natural Selection, you select, we collect, Built, Not Given.